Raji in a moment. Today's masterclass is supposed to just help us understand how best to start our careers in 2022. For those that are looking to launch their careers in different parts, or for those that are looking to navigate into other aspects of their field, this will give you an idea of the best way to go about doing that. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Kemi Raji. She's going to be taking us today on how best to start our career in 2022. Let's welcome Kemi Raji, everyone. Let's just, if you're still here, just like say hi on the comment section, or just say hello so we can, know that you're still around, and introduce yourself. We'll start with Tosin. Tosin, you can just like let us know where you're from and where you're joining in from. Tosin, are you there? Oh, Dennis, we can see. Hi, Dennis. Is Tosin still there? All right, we're gonna start. Hi, Tosin, welcome. Okay, I can see everyone commenting. Welcome, everyone. So let's welcome Kemi Raji.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Omowumi, and everyone for that warm welcome. It is always a pleasure to connect with people and talk about how they can move their career forward, which is what we do best at Sprintify. So I'm just going to share my screen. Let me know if you cannot see my screen. Okay, no, that's not what I wanted to do, and show and start from the beginning. All right, great. So today, like Omowumi said, we're going to be talking about how you can start your career on a high note. And I'm sure that a lot of times people would have told us, make your resume perfect, connect with people on LinkedIn, share your experience, and all those obvious things. However, there are some other aspects to it which I feel that we need to be looking into. And it's not just, I want to be a BA, or I want to be a project manager. I want to be whatever you want to be, which is great, but more of looking at some of these items. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking. That helps to limit interference. Thank you. So in no particular order, I'm going to start with some of the things that has worked for me in my career, that has helped me to, from time to time, restart or join a new company, or look at other things I want to do in my life. But before then, a little bit about myself, which I don't do very well. I don't introduce myself a lot. So this is just a high level of who I am, or what I do, and what I do. So I am a trainer, a mentor, and a coach. I had my international development degree from University of East Anglia some years ago in England. And I have over 10 years experience working with delivery teams. These are developers and departments or sectors, line of businesses within an organization. Over 5 years of coaching Agile, over 5 years of coaching executives and leadership on Agile transformation. I am a founder of Discovering Agile Community, and basically what we do is to match people, mentees with mentors. The director of Sprintify, and initiator of an NGO, and we sponsor kids from disadvantaged background in Nigeria. All right, so the first thing I always do when I'm seeking out a new career, and I suggest to my mentees, is start with your why. Why do you want to get into this profession? Why do you want to get into this career? Why do you want to do this training? Why do you want to do this degree? It's always best to start with the why. Because when you know why you're doing it versus, oh, I've just been told to do this, or I noticed there's a lot of people who are doing this type of career, it helps you every time to connect to your North Pole. It helps you to tie whatever you're doing, all the tasks associated with this goal. It helps you to tie it to why you're doing this. I've had some people call me and they would said, well, someone gave me your number and told me that you deliver training in Scrum and Agile, but I don't know what Scrum is. I don't know what Agile is, and I don't even know how it would help me or how it ties to what I currently do. Those kind of people are going with the flow, and yeah, sometimes it helps to go with the flow, but you need to now sit down and ascertain the purpose. How would this help you in the long run? And I've kind of like put together some of the things that would help you do that. So the way this slide is set up is that I discuss some of the things that has helped me, and I suggest what you can do in order to accomplish that thing. So that's how it's been set up. And how do you start with the why? First, you probably need to sit down, and my slide just skipped. You probably need to sit down and figure out the roles that are available. There is this 100 jobs that if anybody is interested, I can share at a later time if you want it. There's this 100 jobs that the first job roles, the first job roles, you kind of like go through it, and that helps you to determine what you align to. For instance, project managers, project management, police, nurse, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the job you want to do. It just means that those are the kind of roles that you kind of like lean towards. So for instance, if you pick a selected nurse, it might mean that you want a caring role. So if there is no caring, if there's no empathy in that kind of a role that you can, in that job you're seeking, you might not want to do that. It doesn't inform what you do, but it just kind of like helps you to narrow down those roles you're looking out for. All right. So what is the next thing to define your why? Complete a GROW model. A GROW model is basically a coaching model, which helps you to determine how you want to create your vision. So it's basically growth, result. What am I doing? I think I'm touching something that keeps moving this. The GROW model, again, you can find this on the website, or we could share this with you. You can do this on your own, or you could do it with a coach or someone that you work with, a mentor. Read Finding Your Whys, Simon Sinek. It's a very great book that you can read. And there's Why, starting with the Why. There are two different books, which Simon Sinek is, I have read both of them, and they're very, very good in defining why you're going into anything, not just your career, but anything that you want to start up with. And then the Wheel of Life, again, you can get this on Google. The Wheel of Life is basically looking at all the aspects of your life: health, wellness, family, relationship, and looking at those things and seeing where you are in that point at that point in time. Because if you're going to start on a career and probably your finances is so low, you feel you might find out that the finances is getting in the way of you trying to change careers. I have worked with people where they're on a survivor job, and because their finances is not so great, they couldn't switch jobs in terms of leaving that survivor job to concentrate on finding a job to change their career. And as you know, or might not know, looking for a job, it's a full-time job on its own. You need to dedicate that time in finding that job. So these are some of the things that you can try in finding your why. and it does help you to determine what is next for you. Personal development. One thing I've discovered amongst us Black community is that we are limited in personal development. Attending school, accomplishing degrees, master's degrees, and some people would have 2 first degrees and go on to do master's degree and everything. This is great. I'm not saying it's bad. All I'm saying is that that shouldn't be the end of it. And a lot of times, with those skills, or not skills, those knowledge that we've gained from universities and colleges does not get us the job. Even if they do get us the job, we still need to embark on personal development to help us to retain the job, provide the best quality or return on of value for the employer that we're working with. So personal development includes you going on a training, attending workshops, attending meetups, going to conferences, speaking at conferences, or even blogging. So those are the things that are more of personal development. Some people will say personal branding. It is putting yourself out there and learning, continuously learning and accumulating wealth of knowledge that would help you. Not only help you in your job, but help you to be more marketable. When people or employers see that you're committed to personal development, they tend to want to hire you first than someone who has been to university some years ago and there's not a single training that they've done ever since they've left university, or they haven't attended any workshop. They have just been working, or maybe they're not even in a gainful employment, but they're relying on their degree. I remember interviewing for a job, and the reason, or one of the reasons that I got the job was because the guy saw that I speak at conferences. Why I'm not saying that everybody will be doing that, but there are things that employers tend to look for that sets you apart from the other people that they are interviewing. So you want to set yourself apart by looking at personal development. So what are the things that you might need to determine where you are and perhaps what is next for you? Skills matrix. All what I'm suggesting to you, some of them are documents, and if you Google them, by all means, you will find them. So these are not things that are hidden. They are all over the internet for you to grab. Skills matrix. Skills matrix, this you could do with your team if you're working with a team, but also I find it very useful myself to do the skills matrix. So I look at the career I want to go into, or the sector I want to go into, and determine the skills that they're looking for in that career. And I will list them. Where do I get this? Job descriptions, speaking to people that I know are already in that career. And I get those lists and I look at the ones that I have from my previous job. So looking at my transferable skills, looking at the ones that I have and the ones that I don't. So I also put them into categories of, I have some knowledge of this, I don't have knowledge of this at all. Or it could be that I have some knowledge, but I need to know more, because that is what is like a much mandatory skill for that role. And it could be that I don't have knowledge in it, but I don't think I need it right now, owing to some factors which could be there, or maybe it's not in high demand, it's just a suggested skill. So that's how I use my skills matrix. Like I said, it could be used for a team, I use for individual as well. I've talked about demand, determine the skills market demand. Again, looking at what the demand for the market is in the career that you want to go into. And you might even want to look further out and say, in the next 2-3 years, what will be the skills that they will be needing for this? That's what people will want to look at far ahead. But you can always limit yourself to what is currently in demand. And this changes from time to time, especially if you are in the IT sector. You will notice, last 2 years, or a couple of years, not so long ago anyway, there was this huge demand for AWS, that's the Amazon Web Service. And everybody that is not even IT, technical savvy, but they work within IT, was doing AWS, and some of them were doing some other stuff. Again, some people will go with the flow, but I choose not to. Now the demand is kind of like very low, or it was just some years ago whereby you have to have SAFe, that's the SAFe framework certificates. Always are very expensive. So you need to decide, what is it that you need right now? What is it that the market is dictating? And how can you bridge the gap? For some people, they rather read. For some people, they would go on training. For some people, YouTube is a place for them to bridge the gap. Before I go ahead, any questions so far on what I've talked about? All right. So the next one, wellness. It is very important to look after yourself. I said earlier on that seeking a job is a full-time job on its own. You are looking 9 to 5 for a job. I mean, the way I kind of like structure when I'm seeking because I basically work contracting, and when my contract ends, which means I need to do some other another job search, I would spend my time looking for work, applying, responding to people, and then looking at the skills that I needed. Perhaps I need to update my skills by reading. And sometimes it could be that I need to be talking to other people and asking for support around the jobs that they might have knowledge of. So it's 9 to 5 job, a job search. And if you don't sleep well, or you're not active, it could be very, very difficult for you to be out there talking to people or applying for job. Most especially if you are you have another job that you're doing and you want to transition into a new one, it could be really stressful to do both at the same time. And perhaps that's not the only thing you've got to focus on. You've got other things that are going on outside of these two things that you have. So look after yourself. And here are some of the things that you might do is to eat healthy. You're probably thinking that's easy, but I know myself, when I am trying to find a job or trying to change career, food is the last thing on my mind. So you need to remind yourself to eat, but not just eating, but eating something healthy, and not just snacking. As they say, you're what you eat. Mental health, self-care, it's very key. Take a break. If you feel like you need to take a break, please take a break. When it comes to healthcare, I always say you should be selfish. You really, really need to be selfish. Even if you have dependents, you have people that are looking up to you. You are allowed, and you should give yourself permission to take a break. Take up active exercise activities. Even when you take up this, you get more endorphin into your brain. And for me, I find that things becomes a lot clearer to me. Some of the things that I don't think about start to come when I go for a walk around the block, or take a 1 hour walk, because I do that often, well, when it's not very cold. I do that, and ideas keeps on flowing. That by the time I get home, I have a different perspective of what I want to do, or who I need to get involved, who I need to get in touch with. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is you taking a deep breath and reflecting on what's going on. Be mindful of your surrounding, or sometimes you could just exclude the surrounding or exclude what's going on and remain true to yourself. Some of the mindfulness are meditation, yoga, Pilates, and things like that you could do. You don't need to spend an awful lot of money on that. You could just do it at the comfort of your home. And gratitude journal. When you're looking for a job, it's so hard to miss out little things that you've accomplished during the day. We tend to focus on, oh, I just got a rejection letter, versus I was able to send 10 resumes, my resume out to 10 employers today. Or even maybe someone called you and say, hey, are you interested in this job? So those little wins that you are gaining, it is great to document them and be grateful. That in turn motivates you a lot. Families. Yes. What has family got to do with you changing your career? Or what has family got to do with you finding that career this year? These are your stakeholders. They are very important. They're the most important thing when you're trying to change careers, because you need their support. You need their support to be very understanding. You need the support in when you are gone for the day or for the whole day, or perhaps you've gone out to do your current job and you're coming back and you're starting another job or job searching. They are the ones that suffers the most because they don't fully understand why you're doing this. Or perhaps there is a little bit of understanding there, but they're still wondering, why don't you have time for them? Or perhaps you're attending training and you don't want to be disturbed. Kids, family, wife, husband, they are doing some other things to keep themselves occupied. It's always best when you carry your family along. It's always best when you help them to understand their roles in the career change that you are making. It's always best when you have their full support, because they've got your back, right? So what are some of the things that you want to look into when it comes to family? Is the budgeting. How much is it that you can afford to take away from the family money? And it might just be you contributing it, or it could be a joint income. You still want to come together and look at, if I am out of job for the next 6 months that I'm changing my career, will my family survive this? Will I be able to sustain this as well? Sorry, someone is I think. Bola, I've just made you a co-host so that you can, I forgot about that. I can mute people. So you want to look into your family budgeting and how much of this can you sustain the job search? And also, what are the trainings that you need and the cost of them? And what impact would this make on your family finances? And sitting down with your spouse or maybe your children and/or your children and saying, this year I am allocating 1,000 towards training workshop. Is this okay? How is this going to impact the school of others? How is it going to impact activities that we are going to be embarking upon? So when you said to your kids or your spouse that I don't have money, they understand that the money is meant for the career change, and that when we do get that career change, they are going to benefit from it as well. So carry them along and create a joint vision and mission. I know in some a tribe or culture, parents don't sit down with their children. It's always nice when you sit down and say, this is what I look for us to do in the next couple of years. And these are the things that we need to do in order to get to that destination, and assign roles to each person, what they're going to be doing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge thing. For instance, when I was coming to Canada from the UK, my goal was to bring my family here, and we would settle on greener pastures. And you might say, that's a long way to come. But for me, my role was to provide the shelter, the food that me and my kids were going to be having. And their role is that they are going to do very well in school and participate in activities that we find ourselves in Canada. So they know that that's what they're going to be doing while I'm providing food on the table. And we would from time to time review this. Where are we right now? What are we doing? So much so that at some point they started to think of, I need to get a job, paper. They were 13 or 14 at that time. But sharing that vision, having a joint vision tends to help the family to get along. And support system, it basically ties into having that joint vision and mission, because you then get support or you support one another when things are not going on very well, because things will be a little bit shaky. If you're changing careers, if you're moving to a new country, if you're searching for another job, you need your family, you need a support system in place. So if you don't carry them along, it'll be very difficult for them to support you along the way. Coach and mentor. These are two different roles, but I've put them together. A coach is entirely different from a mentor, and people tend to confuse them, thinking that when you have a coach, they tell you what to do. And when you have a mentor, they're supposed to help you get the job done. So when you have a coach, you perhaps want to, and there are different types of coach you can have, a career coach, a life coach, a business coach. There are different coach that specialize in different things. Having a coach means that they help you to uncover stuff, or they help you to shift your perspective. They help you to go deeper into places where you might not want to go, but you have to go there. You have to get to that bottom of things in order for you to move forward. So a coach helps you do that by asking you powerful questions, by noticing the change in your maybe appearance, or maybe your facial expression, or your tone of voice, by revealing to you the system, by revealing to you what they can notice in some of the things that you are saying. Because sometimes we say things, but we don't even think about what we say. So a coach might repeat, so they act like a mirror. They might repeat what they've heard, or they might repeat what they are continuously hearing from you that you are not even hearing yourself say. And a mentor is someone who has walked that path that you want to go. So a coach might not know anything about the career you want to go into. They just know how to help you uncover that, because they believe that you are the expert in that career. Whereas a mentor have gone on that path, they can tell you or share with you how to go about that career path and guide you. However, in both cases, you have to do all the work, or let me say you have to do the 80% of the work. So the 80-20 rule still applies. Even if the mentor has walked the path, you still need to do your homework and say and come to them with your own ideas, what you want to do, what you've thought about. And they help you by providing resources. They help you by providing examples, suggestions on how to go about this. I cannot reiterate enough. Having a coach and a mentor would get you a lot farther than you doing it alone. As they say, if you want to go faster, go alone. If you want to go farther, go with people. So get yourself a coach and get yourself a mentor. It doesn't have to be either or. You can have both, but you need to, again, the why. Why do you need this? You need to determine the why. So like I said, find yourself a coach, define what success is. So if you're meeting with this person, what would success look like? Again, why? Why are you getting involved? If you are looking for a coach, or you reach out to people on LinkedIn and they say, hey, I like the way you do things. I see you are in that career that I want to change into. They're probably going to ask you, why have you reached out? Oh, well, I like what you do. Okay, so what's next? By this time, you want to have your list of questions that you're going to be asking them. You want to write them kind of like a proposal of, if I was to be your mentee, these are the things that I'm going to benefit from it. And these are the things that you're going to benefit from me, because mentoring, it's a two-way street. So define what success is, draw up your plan, and then go to your mentor with that. In the case of a coach does not need to have walked that path, but at the same time, you still want to have some sort of knowledge of what you want from that coaching, because you're going to bring your agenda to the coach, and they're going to ask you, this that you've brought, this topic that you want to talk about, how would you know that you've accomplished it? They need to think about what accomplishment will be, but you need to think about what success looks like. Celebrate success and learnings. Initially, the learners I put failures, but I know that in some culture, the word failure is a no-no. They don't want to hear the word failure. So learnings could be another way that we see things. If you go on LinkedIn today, you would see a lot of, I just got a job. I just got a job, or I got a promotion. No one ever tells you how they got that job or promotion, nor would they share with you all the struggles that they had to deal with before getting that job. All you see is just getting the job. That's the tip of the iceberg, but whatever is underneath it, you don't get to hear. And you're probably thinking to yourself, when is my job gonna come? When are you gonna get that dream job of yours? So celebrate that success, celebrate those resumes that you were able to send out, celebrate your family, celebrate good health, celebrate you being able to even have a current job that you're doing, or maybe you don't have a current job, but you are getting opportunities to share with people what you aspire to be or what you want to do next. And then the failures of it as well. Even if you get a rejection letter today, what are the learnings from that rejection letter? What can you do differently? So reflecting on what could be different would help you go further. And another thing to celebrate is the fact that you can still be able to apply for jobs, that you still have that opportunity. Some people don't even have that opportunity. They don't even know how to get out of where they are. And failures, like I said, or learnings, let me change it, are things that didn't go your way. I have in my Google folder employers that have rejected me since I moved to Canada. And this is like 8 years ago. I still go back from time to time. I look at them. Some of them I've actually worked with them now, and they rejected me when I was searching for a job 8 years ago. And I just smile. Some of them I have worked with that I didn't even have to do interviews, right? So don't be deterred if things doesn't work like you've planned it. Always go back to your why, and it might be that that particular role or job that you just missed or you think you missed does not tie into your why. And that way you celebrate even dodging a bullet. Okay, so that what you can do is create a to-do list of what are you going to do today? What are you going to do next week? Or what are you going to do the month? And you tick along as you go, you accomplish those things. Have a reflective journal. I've mentioned this, and a gratitude journal. It helps you capture things that you're doing, because sometimes we forget the little things that we're accomplishing because the big thing hasn't come to us fast. But when you celebrate small wins, you'll be surprised that the big ones are coming next. So that is it. I welcome questions, comments, or perhaps you want me to dig more into some of the suggestions that I have shared with you. So questions. And I think Omomide can unmute, right?
Yes, you can unmute yourself if you have any questions you want to ask. So, or you can type it into the chat box and then I would just look at it. Okay, Tosin said, thank you so much for this, ma'am. You're welcome. I'm just waiting. If there's any question, you can just type it in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask directly.
Thank you very much, Kemi. This is Dennis, and hello everyone. Yeah. So I think it's been a lovely session. I love I see you focus more on the soft areas of the job search. And I think this is very necessary as well. I believe in the hard and the soft tackling when you're approaching situations. But I'm gonna kind of talk about the resume and the resume about going for a new role. Like when you're trying to switch careers, I kind of noticed that you want to put in your experience in there. And like you've mentioned, when you're going for a new role, you're trying to see your skill set and match it with the requirement of the new role which you're trying to step in. You find that mostly for some of us, like Nigerians, we have a broader experience from back home. There are a lot of tasks we've executed, which we didn't even know that's the title. You call it over here because of different culture and work environments. And you notice then you have this experience and you're trying to, you can kind of perform that role which you're applying for, but actually your job title over here doesn't match that role. And but now you've looked within yourself and seen how your soft skills matches that role, you'll be able to deliver. And also maybe you get a mentor like you mentioned. But then your resume doesn't go through because your job title doesn't match that role which you're applying for. And what I've noticed here is the HR, when they're screening your resume, as long as your job title doesn't match that role you're applying for, it just kind of throws off your resume. So you don't get talking to the hiring manager. And sometimes I think that's a setback. How do you think we can tackle that situation?
Yeah, and thank you, Dennis, for that question. You're right. When I came to Canada, well, I was fortunate because the UK, a lot of the places in the UK is equally, the names of a lot of places in the UK is equally here in Canada. For instance, you have London, Ontario, and you have London, or you have Cambridge or Cornwall and places like that. So that did help me. And to the roles, I happen to have done a universal thing, so project management. So I can imagine people who haven't done a universal title or job, or the role name being different, having that problem. However, one thing I did struggle with was the specialization, because when I came and I said I was a project manager, they were like, what do you specialize in? I said, project management. Yeah, but what do you specialize in? So Canada is a land of specialization. You need to narrow down what you are good at and focus on that. And another thing I suggest to people is to go on the Canada Jobs website. I think it's called NOC. I can't possibly tell you the full meaning, but you could Google it and NOC. NOC, it's number, it has some numbers and some name job roles to go with it. So it will give you a job title, and it will give you the list of suggested job titles that falls under that. Right. So all you need to do is either look for where your current job title back at home falls into, or you maybe it's for me, it's a project management. I only have to look at the list below and say, hey, is my job title in the list of project management, right? So when you find where your job title falls into, you can then swap it. There is no that's not line. It's just you using the job title, which is known in Canada, to define what your job title in Nigeria is. So that is what I'm going to suggest. Look for equivalent of your job title and change it to what is known in Canada. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. That helped, because I think that's what I did, and I'm working on that right now. And to support what it answered my question, but to nail my question down, I'm in a situation whereby I have those past experience, but my current role now with my new company, I'm working in Canada currently, and my recent role doesn't match. I'm trying to switch into a product manager role, and maybe an associate product manager or a product manager directly. But my current role title as a QA lead in my company doesn't match that product manager role. And based on my experience as well, working with some executive stakeholders in my company here, I know the HRO wouldn't let your resume go through if they don't see most times a product manager title as your current experience. Most times they're going to select the product managers over every other title before the hiring manager to speak with. And I don't know how mentors or anybody could bridge that gap, but I know it's a gap. When you're switching careers, how do you bridge that gap?
I think I sort of like understand what you're saying. And I'm going to repeat it, that there are two different things: job role, job title. And I think you're kind of like using them interchangeably. A job title is more of HR. For instance, in my current workplace, I am, what's it called? A senior manager. That is my job title.
Yeah.
My role is that of a Scrum Master. That is my role.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. I think I get it now.
Yeah. So you need to amplify the role. And a lot of times I switch between senior manager and Scrum Master. I haven't lied.
No, true.
Yeah. It could be that I want to amplify the role I am doing, or I want to amplify my title. If I'm seeking a senior management role, I won't put a Scrum Master. I will put senior manager. If I'm seeking a Scrum Master role, I won't put senior manager, because they might think I'm too qualified, and I'll put a Scrum Master.
Thank you very much, Kemi. You nailed that on the head for me. I think, that solves it.
All right. Thanks, Dennis. Any other questions?
Hi. Good morning. My name is Linda Matthew. Can anybody hear me?
Hi, Linda.
Yeah, hi. My friend actually just sent me this link and wanted me to get on it because I'm actually trying to switch careers. I'm actually passionate about the agile framework, like being a Scrum Master and all of that. So I've been on it for a while now, and I've gotten my certification, Professional Scrum Master and Certified Scrum Master. So I've been applying to jobs, and I think I probably have been doing a lot of things wrong when it comes to building up my resume and putting it out there. And from what you just mentioned, this has always been a question that I really, really wanted to ask. Okay, now that I'm applying for a role as a Scrum Master, is there like a different title that I need to attach on the side, or it just has to be Scrum? Because I know if you put Scrum Master, sometimes you can qualify for project manager, right? So I could say Scrum Master / project management, or Scrum Master / agile coach, or something, or whatever. I don't know. I'm just trying to ask, is that a good title to use, or is there like something else that could be attached to a Scrum Master role? Because most of the companies that are looking for Scrum Masters, they just say we're looking for a Scrum Master, or they could say, oh, we're looking for a Scrum Master or project management or project manager or whatever. So I wanted to know what kind of title or role, or I don't know, just something to add. How do I do it?
Thank you, Linda,
Thank you.
for that question. I think we need to do a session on Scrum Master and all you need to know, or something of that nature. Because a lot of times I speak to people and they're not sure or get confused on what the role of a Scrum Master does. A Scrum Master is completely different from a project manager. Those are two different roles, or title, however you want to see it. A project manager does pinbook, traditional project management. What a Scrum Master does is supporting, coaching, mentoring, consulting, teaching way of Scrum or Agile to people within the team. The project manager manages. A Scrum Master is a thought leader, or no, not a thought leader, a servant leader. To your question, Linda, about / whatever, you don't need it. A Scrum Master stand on its own. I'm always wary of organizations that says project manager / Scrum Master, or we'll put Agile Scrum Master. I don't even apply to them because they don't know what they're talking about. Or they might say Scrum Master / QA. A Scrum Master, it's on its own. You can have all the skills, you can have all those skills. However, your role as a Scrum Master is to support a team to become high performing, to continuously deliver at a sustainable pace, right? There has been instances where a Scrum Master would QA. That's fine. That's within the organization. But you don't need any / Linda. I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah.
Because I've been applying as directly as a Scrum Master, but for some weird reason, people making me feel like I'm doing something wrong. And it's either I'm not hearing back, or I'm saying, oh, we're sorry. And then again, someone tells me that I have to make my resume generic, that I have to put like my successes, what I must have done in my previous company in my resume, make it more worded and more descriptive. That way is more catchy. So what I was doing was just itemizing what I do as a Scrum Master, and not necessarily giving all sort of stories and making it so bogus and all of that.
See,
but somebody
there is only one way to write a Scrum Master resume. All right. There's only one way to write it. If people are commenting and everything, they don't know what a Scrum Master does. There's so much we can do with the Scrum Master resume. You can be creative, but I know that there are very, I wouldn't even say couple of ways in which you can write a resume for a Scrum Master. So let me just send it that way.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No worries. All the best in your job search.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Kemi. There are a few questions in the chat box that I would like to read out to you from Tosin and Kenny. The first question from Tosin Adewumi is, thank you so much for this, ma'am. So I'd like to ask if you can be one's coach or mentor. That's the question from Tosin.
Yeah, I do mentor and coach people. Right now, I don't have bandwidth, but we work with mentors who have availability to mentor people who wants to change career. So you can always reach us to Sprintify. Hello at Sprintify if you want to know more about our mentoring program, and we can get you assigned to a mentor who matches your skills and career goals.
Okay, thank you for that. The second question from Kenny is, when switching careers, for instance, from internal audit to Scrum Master, and I have my CSM, what are the tips to get a job? I have applied and I've gotten some rejection letters.
First, I want to clarify that having a CSM does not make you a Scrum Master. Having the skills and experience is what makes you a Scrum Master. And the good thing about Scrum Mastering is that it is a role. So even if you are a professor or you're a director or VP, just name it, your role can be that of a Scrum Master too. So to Kenny's one, if you are in audit, you can figure out some way in which you become a Scrum Master for your team, a Scrum Master for the community you belong to. If you're a Christian, a Scrum Master for the church program. If you are working with NGO, a Scrum Master for whatever activity or events that they're doing. And you can even be a Scrum Master for a wedding ceremony, right? You could turn a mini project or even a huge project and become a Scrum Master for that. And how do you become a Scrum Master? It's implementing those Scrum values and Scrum knowledge into that project. So auditing, I'm not vast in auditing or even internal auditing, but I've worked with teams who are finance department, and I know it can be very hard to practice Scrum in that department. It is doable, but it can be very hard. What you can look into is introducing Kanban, and Kanban is, or Kanban model rather, is having visibility, creating visibility of work that needs to be done, ensuring that the work continues to flow, putting in work in progress limit, all those kinds of principles and practices of Kanban. And you may think that is different from Kanban. That is different from Scrum. Yes, it is, but you can start from somewhere and start to gain knowledge from it. Organizations still hire people who have knowledge of Kanban or have been using Kanban. They call them Kanban coaches. Scrum seems to be the popular one, but there are other things, other frameworks that you can have knowledge or practice or experience of that will get you into Agile. I hope I answered your question, Kenny.
Yes, thank you.
So those are all the questions in the chat box. If you have any further questions, you can always just type it and I would read them. But I think that is all the questions at the moment. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure having you all here, and it's nice to see some familiar faces, so avatars. I guess we would see you at the next masterclass that we have, and I think Bola, people are welcome to suggest topics or master classes that they want to see us present on, isn't it? So thank you. Omawumi, over to you.
Thank you everyone for joining today's class. I really do hope that you learned something and it helped in giving you more understanding on how to navigate your career path in 2022. For further details about our master classes and everything you need to know about mentorship, Agile, Scrum, and even design sprint product management, just please check out our website, www.sprintify.co, or send us an email on hello@sprintify.co. We typed it at the comment chat box, so you can also see it. It's written there if you need further clarification on anything. And we would let you know if there's any masterclass coming up very soon. Please sign up for our email list. I would also send that out to everyone that joined today's class. And yeah, we look forward to having you in our next session, and we'll communicate when that would be happening. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Bye, everyone.